welcome all students, guests, and listeners to our 5th Culinary Conversations to celebrate the World Food Day today. To have food should actually be the right of everyone, but in a time where mass production is on its height, we observe immense food waste, large population unable to feed themselves even one proper meal a day. We suffer from obesity, allergies, and intolerances. Diseases are increasing and new viruses and sicknesses are appearing. Due to malpractices in growing our food, and we are continuously searching for new ways to grow more food for every day more people on this planet. We invited for today Mr. Donald Fernandes, the founder of Street Providence Trust, NGO, will give us some insights of what happens in our neighborhood and explain to us what we can do to stop. Street Providence Trust, Sangolda, Goa, is an NGO involved in freeing Goa from hunger and homelessness. Street Providence Trust was started by founder trustee Mr. Donald Fernandes. During his frequent journeys across Goa, he saw the sad side of it, the hunger in the streets. He decided to do his best to alleviate the hunger of these people. In December 2015, he and his wife Dorothy began cooking meals every morning for the poor in his vicinity. He would distribute the meals before he left for work. But his desire was much more. Gradually, his colleagues at work also joined him, and together they started feeding the poor at the bus stops in Mapsa and nearby areas, and thus was born the Food Bank of Street Providence. Much has been achieved since then, and today's Street Providence Food Bank is involved in activities across Goa to ensure that the poor and marginalized have at least one balanced meal a day. Having said this, I now hand over the word to Donald Fernandes. If you have any questions, please feel free to voice them in the chat box, and then after the question and answer round towards the end of the session, we would answer these questions. Mr. Donald, most welcome. Thank you for being here, for having the time, spending the time with us. We have a lot of students sitting in classrooms and listening to you. We are live on Facebook as well. And I hope some of your guests are joined as well to this session of today. Thank you very much. I hand the word over to you. Thank
you. Good morning to you students, and good morning to you chef, and good morning to people who are viewing this. I'm Donald Fernandes from the Food Bank, Sangolda, Goa. And I will request chef to play the video first before we speak, or before we get into the questionnaire about our food bank. So once you see the video, you will have a fair idea how things go. So chef, can you play the video?
Okay, Isaac, please.
The food bank started in 2014 in Donald's home in Sangolda. He and his wife cook food to fill in 15 tiffins, and he delivered them to the poor. In 2016, he installed a tap providing filtered drinking water, and a fridge was then placed next to this tap. People could deposit excess food, and the needy people came by to collect this food. He felt encouraged as the movement picked up, and many people joined as volunteers. Food Bank of Goa installed more fridges and also got a number of freezer vehicles to transport this food all over Goa. Ambulance was bought for the needy, sick people. The dedicated volunteers of Food Bank of Goa pick up food from various corporate offices and deliver them to the food fridges installed in Goa. Our volunteers take no holidays and show up every day to serve food, as they know that hunger takes no holiday. We have 38 fridges located all over Goa, manned by 150 dedicated volunteers. Extra food is picked up from various company canteens and given to food bank. Every night, our volunteers at our Purbari home heat up food, pack it in food-grade plastic bags and transport it to the streets in Goa, ready to be distributed to the homeless and hungry. This is our home kitchen in Sandines Church, Panaji, Goa.
It's a really wonderful initiative, to take care of those people, on the street, and I see the commitment, and they are doing it now with great love, Ansel, Donald, okay, and I don't know how they organize and how they get the people and but I think we are also little helping hand ko hand, but Donald, they are doing amazing work, I would say, the state provident, they really have taken and done so much good for so many people. Really, God bless Donald State Foundation and his team, Ansel, everybody, and all of the volunteers who do this with love. God bless them.
People living on the streets are tired, hungry, and depressed. They are often ignored by other people. Our volunteers make every attempt to talk to them and befriend them while handing out food packets. They form a bond with them as they meet them regularly. But we do need more kind-hearted and generous people to help Food Bank of Goa, as our goal is to ensure that shelter and food is provided to every human being in Goa. Come join us and help make this movement a success.
Nice video. Shows nicely about what your work is all about. Maybe you can explain a little bit about yourself and continue. Thank you.
So basically, last 11 years, I have been in the sales line in Goa. I have a sales job, and my customer base has been bakeries, hotels, restaurants. So I used to travel a lot, and I realized that a lot of food was being wasted, and there was no system to organize it. So that was the reason I decided to start this food bank in 2014. It took me some time to organize, invest, get it moving, take it to a level which I thought would be the best way. And in 2017, we installed the first fridge, which took 6 months for us to stabilize. We didn't do anything for the first 6 months besides operating one fridge. And slowly, once the fridge stabilized, once the idea percolated into people's mind, then we put up a 38 fridges. We took the movement forward. So pre-pandemic till March 2020, things were very good. We would collect about 1,500 kilos of food every day and move it around. But once the first wave came, people's functions were closed, hotels, restaurants, bakeries were closed, people were not spending money, weddings were stopped. And that has continued now till August 2021, when things are now slightly beginning to open up. But due to the COVID, where some of our volunteers lost their lives, we have kept these food bank fridges on hold. We are not, I'm not ready to risk the volunteers' lives because most of them are senior citizens or ladies. So at the moment, out of 38, only about 6 fridges are operational. We collect now about 250 kilos food every day. Even serving on the streets, we have reduced from 4,000 meals. We have brought it down to 500 meals daily because food is not available. wastage is very less. Donations have slowed down. Costs have increased. Uh, so it's going to take time to reactivate the fridges because you have volunteers, but their lives are first important and their health is important, and you require food which is in short supply.
When you talk, can I just enter here a minute? When you talk about the fridges, how do you explain? How can we understand what are the fridges? How does that work? How does it function? What do you do there?
So basically, what did we do? We bought we have 200 liters hard top fridges which stand all weather. We identified places across Goa like convents, churches, petrol pumps, people's homes, marketplaces where the fridge was placed and the responsibility was given to the volunteers in those areas. So we created an awareness where people knew where to drop their extra food, and the volunteers would take the responsibility of checking the food before distributing it. Simultaneously, we also tapped into factories and bakeries and hotels. So we used to collect food from ACGL, Honda. We used to come down to Sezagoa, Vedanta at Amana. From there, we would come to Colgate at Kundai. And from there, we would go to Cremox Bakery. That was one trip which fetched us about 600 kilos food every day. Then there were many other places which we tapped, and automatically our frozen vehicles would also drop extra food into these fridges on a route wise. So there would be one day north, one day south.
Because there is what I have seen in Europe. There are food fridges, which are installed in places where people can just leave food already packed, and then whoever needs can take. But so what you are saying, your idea of fridges in such a way that it is always not accessible for the poor as such.
Yes, in India, what happened? The concept has not yet percolated with the poor to go to the fridge and open the food because they are not aware that. I'm talking about Goa. I mean, we have tried like the fridge which I run in Sangalda. Still, we see that people don't come to the fridge and take what they want. It's possible that they are frightened, or they don't want to take it, or they might find a packet too big. So because this is bulk food, so it's not. At least in Goa, I've seen people not willing to open the fridge and take it.
So how do you identify then? For example, you would start a fridge somewhere in one area. Would you identify then the needy person and how much you have to distribute, and how does this work?
So each volunteer identifies the needy in his locality or in his area, and that is left up to the respective volunteer to organize the food inside or move the food outside or warm the food or check the food. That is left to the individual volunteers.
Okay, so what you do then? You supervise that this is all. They are not giving out the food.
It's basically a free flowing operation with everybody being responsible for their part in so many ways. See, they have to organize their own food, so they have to go to their respective dance floors or wedding halls or caterers. They have to create an own awareness among themselves. If there is no food, then we used to give them food from our base. They have to check the food. They have to prepare the containers. They have to check the fridge, clean the fridge, pay for the electricity. They have to maintain their fridge. So it's all. We have given them a platform where they can do something for the people who are hungry in their locality.
Okay, nice. Thank you so much. So maybe we start with the questions. Some students have prepared questions to ask. So maybe Mr. Sudhir start getting students for the questions. I hand over to Sudhir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Krishnakant Naswaria
Good
from
morning.
the first year and a resident of Mumbai. And my question to you is, today is World Food Day. Do you have any special activities planned for the day?
So, as we are speaking now, there are about 1,000 meals which we have bought today, pre-packed meals, uh, going out to 1,500 meals going out today to 1,000 people who the volunteers I have identified across Goa. In addition to the 500 meals which we serve every day. So today, basically, we are doing 1,500 meals.
Thank you, sir.
Next student, please.
Good morning, sir. My name is Tahira Rodrigues from the SYBSC. And my question to you is, how did you start the Street Providence Trust and who inspired you? While starting this NGO, what were some of the thoughts that came to your mind?
So basically, like I said in my opening conversation, that I've seen a lot of people wasting food in multiple places, and that inspired me to start the food bank, which later went into a trust. And when I started this, it was something which I thought will work because it was never tried before. I had the resources, I had the fridges, I had the contacts, I had the commitment. We had the volunteers. People were ready for a new concept or a new idea, and that was how the food bank established along with the trust.
Thank you, sir.
Next student.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and your camera. Yes, now you are visible. Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Hello, Mr. Donald. Good morning. My name is Clara, and I am currently studying in VMSIIHE. And my question for you is, what gave you the idea of starting a food bank? And what is the process followed from the point of receiving the food to the distribution of the food?
So basically, the idea of starting the food bank was, daily in Goa. I mean, this is pre-pandemic. We're not talking this 1 year. There's about 12,000 kilos of fresh food being wasted every day. That's 12,000 kilos. That's 12 tons. So my idea was to tap into 10% of that, and that's what we did. We were collecting 1,500 kilos of food every day. Now, what process the system was that we installed fridges so that the fresh food which is extra is dropped into the fridges, and from those fridges the food was transferred to our frozen vehicles so that there was no drop in temperature. It was brought to the base. It was restored at freezers in our base at our main kitchen, and each and every packet of food was checked, warmed up, and resupplied. So basically, we run a food bank that is pre COVID. Huh? For 3 years, we ran the food program with temperature controls at all points without dropping the temperature.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next one is Gargi, please.
Good morning, sir. My
Good
name is
morning.
Karti. I'm from Mumbai. And my question to you is, how many needy people do you reach out on an average per day? And which areas in Goa does your NGO cover?
Okay, so basically, pre-COVID, we were reaching out to about 4,500 meals every day. The food bank was spread across 38 fridges, north Goa to south Goa. So right from north in Fernandes, Bardes, Tiswadi, Salsette. These were the 4 places where we were very strong. Marmagaon. Post-COVID, we stopped for some time for 6 months, and after the second wave, now we are doing about 500 meals every day. That's in Vasco, in Mamboli at the hospitals, in the streets of Mamsa at times, and also we feed our 100 people who are rehabilitated in our home who are on the streets. So we have 2 fridges working at Old Goa and in Panjim city, which caters to about 150 to 200 people meals every day.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to ask a question to Mr. Donald. Chef Sebastian?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Donald, and the work that you're doing is really great. Humanity service, which is priceless. Your initiative. Congratulations to you. And I would like to know whether your trust, what were the procedures? Did you have to take any sanctions from the government, or you had to register your, organization? I just would like to know that.
Basically, when we started in November 2017 with the first fridge, we were serving food from 2014 from home. But when we put up the fridge from 2017 May till December 1st, I just ran it under my name. But in December 2017, we formed an NGO. We registered the NGO and put the food bank under Street Providence. So people basically know us as the food bank, but our NGO name is Street Providence. So we registered a trust. We did the formalities, and when we started the food bank in the food and drug, it was FDA. Now it became FSSI. In FDA, there was no rule about running a food bank. Like if you go to FDA now, there is no rules to run a medicine bank. That's a separate issue. But there was no rule to run a food bank. So after we started, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in May or June 2018, FSSI Delhi called all their FSSI directors, and our model was discussed to some extent, and rules were created how to run a food bank, from which department permissions to be taken, and that. Then we also applied, and then that was how we have the FSSI license for the food bank.
Okay.
Whereas the NGO, we are registered with the local police, we are registered with the social welfare, we are registered with the women and child, we are registered with the local bodies where our homes are situated. We are registered with the fire department, and the local panchayats.
Thank you for the information, Mr. Donald.
Thank you, Mata, for nice question. Next student, please, Cristela.
Good morning, sir. My name is Cristela Menezes, and I'm from Kolwale, North Goa. And my question to you is, how do you raise funds for various projects undertaken by you, in addition to food donations received from the hotels?
Good question, and I'll give you a straight answer. See, from the day we started, we insisted on equally check payments. We never accepted cash. So everybody who gives us a check gets a receipt. But for 2 years, we didn't have the tax exemption, which is called ATG, which gives you 50% tax exemption for your donations. So basically now, since we have this tax exemption, we raise funding through social media. We are on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Twitter, and I have with me about 10,000 contacts on my phones. So basically, we are using social media to create awareness of the work and also raise resources.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Cristela. Next student, please, Anjali.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Anjali. I'm from first year BSc, and my question to you is, what in your opinion is the main cause of people left to live in hunger? What can be done to overcome people getting into this situation? Where does the system fail?
Good question. And basically, see, if you're talking now in this scenario where inflation is very high, jobs have been lost, people don't have food, so it's basically due to the price rise. It's basically due to inflation, and I mean, India is a big country. If you're looking at India, it has slipped now. From last year, it has slipped again in the index hunger. But it's 150. We are close to 1.5 billion people. So this index is going to increase in the coming year. But the only solution will be that, if there's extra food, food banks will be one of the solutions to reducing this index as of now, because India is throwing out a few million kilos of food every day. That includes cooked food, vegetables, fruits, pulses. So there is mismanagement in the system, and this is where the system is failing. I mean, logistics is one issue, coordination is one issue, uh, the gap between the rich and the poor is one issue. People's approach to donating fresh food is one issue because they think it's going to lead to food poisoning and stuff like that, which I don't believe is there in the. There's hardly any food poisoning in the last. Now we are 4 years and running. We never had any case of food poisoning, but the system is failing because the systems are not interlinked. The departments are not interlinked. Everybody is thinking about his own self. So it's not difficult to reduce the index. It's just people don't, the government or maybe the officials don't have the willpower and the commitment. That's all.
So what would be needed from the government side to help against that?
So this we have been trying this last 4 years as a model in Goa to get all the factories, priority the factories which have extra food, to give it away to the poor. Now some of them take the idea, some of them don't take the idea, some of them are stuck with the idea, and some of them are not interested in the idea. So if the government, that is the labor department, or the labor commissioner, if they work on this angle, and industrial estate wise, if they speak to the industries in those areas, especially the big factories which have extra food, and that food can be routed to the poor people, you will be able to create a model which can be replicated in other states, and the assurance, the commitment can be given by the government that in case of food poisoning, if it arises in one or two scenarios, will not be taken to task because it can be a genuine reason. See, it's not that somebody ate this food and got a food poisoning. It's maybe that he was having some issue before he ate the food and he's blaming somebody else. So that is the main cause of food poisoning. So if they manage to filter down the clauses for food poisoning running through food banks, I'm telling you, 12,000 people, you can feed about 50,000 people every day in Goa. That 12,000 kilos of food, because 1 kilo of food approximately is equal to 4 people eating it. Usually in a restaurant, a portion of food is 350 grams. We say 250 grams portion to the poor. 250 grams into 4 is 1 kilo. 12 into 4 is 48,000 people to 50,000. Then you have bakeries.
How is Goa in comparison to India, or in numbers or percentages, with needies, people who would need help to eat?
The poor in Goa are there. It's just that we don't see them in Kiswadi, we don't see them in the coastal areas. But you go to rural areas, which is 60 or 70% of Goa population, I am aware that a lot of people don't have food to eat. So you will have to move the food from one point of Goa, that is from the coastal area to the interior areas, and see that food goes down. People in villages, people in smaller places who are poor by nature, development has not reached there. So that is the only way to get this 12,000 kilos food out.
And how do you see that in comparison, Goa in comparison to the rest of India or other states? What is done there?
See, we had a project before pre-pandemic to install 2,000 fridges across India. It was a huge project. So we tried. We got in touch with the Caterers Association of India. We got in touch with the Bakers Association of India. We were working on plans to network the system whereby fridges can be installed in all major cities, in all districts. But somehow the pandemic has kept those plans on hold. So there are the poorest district in India. You can Google it. I won't quote the name. Is just 60 kilometers away from industrial estate where Tata Steel is. Just 60 kilometers away. and that place may be throwing out every day. It's an industrial area. That place may be throwing out 50,000 kilos of food every day. So 50,000 kilos of food into 4 is 2 lakh people. You're just covering 60 kilometers one way to move so much food to a district in India which is declared the poorest and the most malnutrition or malnourished people in India. So I mean, if food banks will be the only way for the future, or food bank fridges will be the only way in the future, if India needs to bring that index level which is classifying India a little better than the other 15 countries. It's 101, 102, I think, compared to 160. Last year it was 96, so before that it was 94. That will be the only way. Food bank fridges will be the only way to reduce this index. There will be no other way.
I pass to the next student, please, Simran.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Simran Paraleka from first year, and my question to you is, what are the various ways by which you create awareness about this situation in Goa? As students, in what way can we contribute?
So basically the awareness we use is social media. Now it's only through social media, some small print media and some small electronic media. But more is social media. So as students now, just one question. Most of you all are from which part of the catering line? From service or from this kitchen?
Management, kitchen background.
So basically what happened? No, down the line, now these big 5-star hotels, they are apprehensive of giving extra food away for genuine reasons. Now down the line, if the students in the next 5 years will reach these 5-star hotels, or will reach these positions where they'll be in charge of decision making, it will be good for them to create awareness in their management. That why don't we route this extra food towards food bank fridges? Because in 5 years' time or in 3 years' time, this concept will take food in India. This is the only concept where you can reduce the index hunger, and this is the only way the students who tomorrow will be working in multiple outlets where food is being manufactured, food is being distributed, food is being processed, can utilize the extra food, channelizing it to go towards the food banks. Otherwise, there'll be no other solution.
Thank you, sir.
So next we have a few more questions. Anjal.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Pranjal from Gurugram, Haryana. My question to you is there any financial help or support given by the government?
For the food banks, there is no support from the government. It's an individual initiative, or it will be the trust initiative, or it will be the club's initiative, whoever starts a bridge. So as of now, there is no financial aid in sort of any grant towards food banks. As sort of rehabilitation homes, what we run, there are different schemes given for the rehabilitating the homeless people in our homes. Some are central government schemes, some are state government schemes, some are schemes for old age, some are schemes for people with disabilities. So coming to the food bank, there is no grant which I know to feed the poor.
Thank you, sir.
So next student, please.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Arjun and I'm from Pune. And my question to you is, what are some problems you face trying to turn your thoughts into reality?
So basically, this is a slow process. You require to create goodwill, especially in the food bank when you're collecting food from factories or bakeries or hotels or restaurants, so that you have a reference to give somebody. You need to be sure that there's hygiene, there's cleanliness, the cold chain is not broken, temperatures are maintained. Once you have this running, then it's not difficult running a food bank or a food fridge operation.
Thank you, sir.
So when you have when I see, for example, a family in Goa, which would have maybe some ingredients which they maybe at the verge of expiring, and they would know they would not use it. How do you think these kind of people would approach you and would get in touch with you to help something? Because I think maybe that could be a difficulty for the people to reach out to you, because it's an extra work. Nobody wants to really probably go the extra mile. So how would it be facilitated? For me, example, if I would have in my family someone or some food left, I might have done a nice birthday party, I have whatever, something left over. Is it worth it for you all to be there to collect? Does it
so basically the fridges were installed to people to go and drop the food. We don't, it's not possible to pick food from people's doorsteps. That's not possible. The viability and the costing will not go. It is viable and feasible to pick food only from bakeries, hotels, caterers, wedding planners, restaurants, where it is like 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 kilos. Picking up 200 grams to 500 grams is not going to be practical, feasible, and that's why the concept of fridges are there. So what happens if you drop food in the fridges? If it has to go somewhere, it will go. If it's not going to go nowhere, it may reach the dustbin. If it's not edible, it's not. It's not. It's gone by date. But basically, picking up food from individual homes is not a viable solution.
Yeah. So, but how do people know where are the fridges located?
So we had a graph, we had a chart, we had circulated a chart on social media. People knew about it, but like I said, this was all March 2020. Now we have to wait for all this to die down, and because see, putting a fridge somewhere, somebody coming to drop it may not be viable, feasible at the moment, because people also are scared for their lives. The fridges which are in public places are open, but as I'm saying, people I'm observing, nobody is wasting any more food. The wastage of food has gone down drastically. There is at least what I'm seeing in Goa. That is, so people are saving money. They are saving their costs. They are cutting down food wastage because everything is getting expensive. So this will take time to get reactive.
Okay, thank you. Next student, please. Sorry, students, I was asking something in between. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Shazia and I'm from FIBSE. My question to you is, how did you motivate your colleagues to join you in this noble cause?
So basically what happened, we created a platform where people, individual volunteers, housewives, senior citizens could come forward to do something for the poor in their area at their convenience. We just created a platform. We gave them the fridges, we gave them the food, we linked them up with the social media, and a lot of people were motivated to reach out to the poor in their locality without we as the base getting involved, and that is how things work. Now, as we are talking, there are 4 sets of volunteers distributing 1,000 packets. Now, we have got the food from a particular restaurant and given them the details. So one set of volunteers will take it to Cafe Savardev Kurcharem, he will distribute it. One set will take it to Vasco City, he will distribute it. One set will take it to Zuari Nagar, they will distribute it, and one set will go to Old Goa, they will distribute it. So basically, if you're creating a platform and giving volunteers a free hand to work with you, then you don't need to put your face everywhere and say no that you are doing all this work. It's volunteer based, so volunteers also will feel important that you are allowing them to take your platform, and which is okay. It's basically teamwork. It's basically teamwork, not individual work.
Thank you, sir.
So you are centralizing all the food which you get, which you collect, and then you distribute it to the places where you.
Yes. Okay. Individually, it's not possible for any of our staff to go around feeding so many people. It won't work, and you cannot do it every day. You need a team, and you need volunteers, and you need to give them their space, their time, their judgment.
So you have one place. You have one place where you gather everything together, and then you make packages and distribute.
Yeah, no. So what we do, if we are picking up food now in say old Goa area, of
Yeah.
that area, Ponda side. So we have fridges along the way where the food is directly offloaded. We don't bring it back to the base and we are cutting cost. Or if we are having places where we cannot pick food, we tell those food fridges, you pick the food. So we are saving logistics, we are saving cost, we are saving manpower, we are saving fuel, we are saving maintenance.
Okay. Thank you. Next student, please.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Vijay, and my question for you is: did you face any challenges during the pandemic, and have you come up with any new restrictions that has to be followed?
So basically, during the pandemic, all our food supply shut and is still shut. It was shut till the second wave. We didn't force our volunteers to go to the street, so we gave them a break. They had a right they had a choice to decide, and we explained that we will not be held responsible for any health issues because it's voluntary. Uh, food food collection dropped from 1,500 kilos to 300 kilos. Uh, Feeding on the street also became expensive because we could not buy that much food, although we tried to buy, but we switched to dry ration in the meantime. We distributed during the after the first wave, we distributed 5,000 kits of ration worth 1,000 rupees each to 5,000 families across Goa. That included migrants, laborers, women's, marginalized section, and we are not ready to take a risk where the volunteers are concerned because everybody comes from their own families, everybody has their own sickness, their own issues, so we can't go to the scale we were doing it before March 2000.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Reese Weltail. I'm from Goa studying in FYBS. My question to you is, any one incident you would like to cite which was truly remarkable, what message would you like to give to us youngsters?
So basically, what I would like to say in these last 4 years that the food bank has worked without me getting involved on a personal basis. I created a platform, I put it on social media, volunteers came forward. So basically, I'm not directly involved in this particular project of feeding the poor. It's something which is free flowing, without restrictions, without any commitment, without any reporting, without any documentation. People come in, use the platform, and serve the food, and that is a good way because it's teamwork. So it's not that it's a one man show. It's teamwork, and yeah, especially the students who are in these catering colleges down the line when they will reach say any hotel or any organization which is dealing with food or any food producing outlet or food producing organization, there's always going to be wastage, and that wastage, instead of going to the garbage bin, can go to people who deserve the food. I mean, there has to be a mechanism worked out how to move the food without complications. But the time is come for people, the youngsters in colleges who are going to be connected to the food industry to see that food is not wasted in India or in Goa anymore.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It is. Yeah, we have actually, our institute, we are actually participating in the Eat Right campus from the FSSAI. And one important part of it is as well to avoid food waste. So we have a very clear system in place how to inform the student about their daily food waste. Everything which comes from cafeteria where the students eat, what rest which is on the plate is weighed separately, and every day there is a sign in the cafeteria where we note down how much food was wasted from for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So like this, our students know exactly what was the food waste which we had. But of course, this is not food waste which is recyclable in that sense. Yeah. So what we are doing in the kitchen side is we are basically working very focused on the numbers of students we have. So we are not like a hotel which has a wedding where maybe was ordered for 500 or 1,000 people, and then there is always buffets, are always food has always to be there. So there will be a lot of food rests. So we have actually done some collaboration with another company, the Robin Wood. We had found them long time back, but now 2 years back, and actually had combined with them that whenever we have food leftovers, we could give. But actually, it's not happening because we are not producing. As an institute, we are not producing these kind of food waste to give away. Because we are working in such a way that it should act, our objective is it should not happen like that. What we did during the pandemic was we had our chefs here working. We sent food for people who have been in quarantine and couldn't go out of their house and cook. So in that time that we did for about 4 months, in that time we fed quite a few people. So we deliver directly to their houses. So that was one thing. And the year before, we cooked food here once in a while, and we went to the in Margao to the bus station, and there the market area where a lot of people were sitting, and we gave food. And there we saw a lot of people distributing food from a personal base. People have done initiatives to send food out. So it is something is working, but of course it is a concern, and it should be. I think that building awareness of it should be some very important part of it. So the only thing what the FSSAI, or the thing which FSSAI is doing really a great job is to introduce these Eat Right campaigns and Eat Right school Eat Right campuses, where they are actually obliged to really work on that. Maybe as well would be interesting for you to be there with the FSSAI because they have changed a lot. They are working very much on this kind of things at the moment. Is there anything else? Any other questions from the listeners? Please speak up if you have any questions, students. Even students who are in the classroom, please, if you feel free to come out to talk. Switch on your microphone. Anyone there from the?
Mr. Donald, I have a question. My name is Edya Norona. I just wanted to know whether you provide this service to South Goa. Is it only North Goa?
To pick food, or to receive food, or for feeding the poor?
No, feeding the poor. Feeding the poor.
So basically, what I'm looking now in the last 1.5 years is that people are purposely loitering on the streets without wanting to work because they are getting free food. But they all are having access to alcohol. They all are having access to cigarettes. They all are having access to tobacco, and they don't want to work. They don't want to get off the streets. So we have quit feeding in some cities, and that same amount of resources we are putting in families in rural Goa. So very soon we are coming with a big home right in the rural part of Goa, in South Goa. And from that home, we will cater to like 300 to 400 families for food every day. So instead of feeding people who are taking advantage of the system, we will be moving out from feeding in all cities and moving into households, because this is my personal experience. We are actually wasting people's hard-earned money on feeding the people on the street, because the same street people, we are ready to take in 300 400 people and rehabilitate them. and give them the same amount of money what they're earning on the street without alcohol and tobacco, but they refuse it. So what's the point in feeding somebody who is not getting off the street? See, because we are the only organization running food banks and rehabilitation. So we are ready to send you back home. We are ready to give you a job in our home. We are ready to pay you a basic salary, which is enough for you because you're getting free food, clothing, and shelter. What else more you require? But these migrants are not ready to get off the street. They want that alcohol. So, I'm seeing a lot of people. I don't want to waste money by feeding somebody with no result. So, very soon we will be off the streets and only into villages where actually poor families will be considered the same amount of resources.
I think that is well said. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Donald. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very, that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you at the end as well, where you balance the people who are really in need and people who will take advantage. How do you manage to balance these? Because when everything is for free, the effort to get better or to do something against is actually not there anymore. So how do you balance?
See, these people on the street earn 100 rupees to 150 rupees a day picking up bottles. Out of 150 rupees a day, they must be spending 120 to 130 rupees on the alcohol, and 20 rupees they must be eating. That same amount of money, we are ready to pay them if they stay in our homes because we got multiple projects to put them to use. Okay, so in our homes now we are making paper bags, we are making plants, we are doing husking of coconut. We have got multiple projects lined up for which we are providing you food, accommodation, medicine, and water, which cost money, and we are ready to pay you 3,000 rupees. It's the same thing, but they refuse because there is no alcohol and tobacco in the homes. So instead of reaching nowhere, better to get results. Better to feel that satisfaction by feeding families who will always be grateful for the food you are providing them. See, there are 1,500 people on the street today being fed by so many people unnecessarily, and they all have money. You check anybody's pocket; he'll have minimum 500 to 1,000 rupees in his pocket.
Thank you so much, Mr. Donald. It was a pleasure having you with us.